And welcome to this very special report of the Power of Pro Wrestling podcast. This is your host, Robert Red. Now, as you guys know, I used to host a podcast that was called the Power of Pro Wrestling podcast that I did it pretty much on a weekly basis or a monthly basis there at the end. Well, recently, if you follow me on Facebook, if you're my friend on Facebook, I've recently scored a Logitech C920 HD webcam. It's supposed to be a professional one. And I have been wanting to do for the last few weeks a show called The Breakdown. Well, I haven't kind of figured out the format yet, but I wanted to talk about the Women's Money in the Bank 2017 controversy, so I figured I would do it in audio form. So I'm going to present it to you in this fashion of audio form. So, as you guys know, the first ever Women's Money in the Bank ladder match happened on June 18th, which was about 10 days ago at the time of this recording. It was on Father's Day. And they had and this was supposed to be a historic match. So it was going to be the first of its kind, first ever Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. And it had 5 participants. And so you had Carmella, you had Natalya, you had Becky Lynch, you had Tamina, and you had Charlotte. And the way this match ended was very controversial. Like I said, that you had James Ellsworth, which is a man. He climbed up the ladder after kind of flipping Becky Lynch off, I should say, of the ladder, climbing, unhooking the briefcase, and dropping it down to Carmella, who was kind of like sitting beneath the ladder. Now, a lot of people got upset at this for the simple fact of, a man had to help Carmella win Money in the Bank briefcase, blah, 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 and got very upset. And I can understand why you guys got upset, because you had this whole build up to this match. This was supposed to be a very historic match, almost like a women's empowerment thing, how much the women have changed, and now we're able to finally get a women's Money in the Bank ladder match, which is very good. That's good, because you've had all these historic matches that have been going on, such as you had the Women Main Event Raw, which had not happened in years since Lita and Trish. Then you had the first ever Women's Hell in a Cell. You can even backdate it to the first women's Iron Man matches in NXT. So you've been doing a lot of these innovative matches. You had Charlotte, Sasha, and Hell in a Cell. So you've been doing a lot of these innovating stuff. So a lot of people were looking forward to this Money in the Bank ladder match, since it was the first and historic, like I keep saying. And to have this finish, it almost felt like a bait and switch. And I can understand why you guys were frustrated with the bait and switch. Now, with that, a lot of people, like I said, were unhappy and kind of tweeted their disgust. Even I think the girls kind of tweeted their disgust with how Ellsworth got involved in the match and kind of ruined this historic moment. Now, a lot of people forget, I understand your bait and switch, but this is wrestling. That's a great heel tactic. WWE elicited the response they wanted from you. They wanted you to be upset that this match was so historic match was ruined by this guy. So on SmackDown, the following Tuesday, 2 days after the pay-per-view, Daniel Bryan comes out and basically undoes the win with saying, sorry, Carmella, we're kind of on uncharted ground. Yeah, people have won in the past, because Carmella makes her case that people in the past have had help to win Money in the Bank. Well, he said, and yeah, that's true, but this is kind of unprecedented territory, because no one has ever grabbed the briefcase, and given it to someone else. So he basically undoes the win for the Money in the Bank briefcase and says, we're going to have another match, and kind of almost undoes what Carmella has done. And my friend Issa kind of addressed this last week, which you can follow her on Demon Diva. You can follow me at Robert Red Jr. There's the shameless plug there. So, and you're welcome, Issa, for the plug. Which she's more popular than me, obviously, but I'll figure I'd give her the plug there. She makes the case of, you have these people who get on Twitter and tweet about how unhappy they are, and WWE responds that, we're just going to have another Money in the Bank ladder match, and I think that's the wrong way to handle that. she made the point that you're just teaching people, if you get on Twitter and gripe about it, that you should respond accordingly. Now, yes and no. Basically, there's an old practice in business that's been around, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard the saying, the customer is always right. The paying customer, provides you the money to be able to put on the show, to pay your talent wrestlers. If you're a small promotion, WWE is much bigger company than most wrestling companies are around the world. They're the biggest one out there. But just the simple practice of you should, in business, you have to give the customer what they want. You do have to make the customer happy, but you can't always please them because people are very fickle sometimes, and I've learned that in my personal life. So you can't always do that. So it's almost like a double-edged sword here, or that you teach people, if they'll get on Twitter and gripe enough, that you will bend and change, which to me is kind of stupid. But in an instance, you do have to listen to your audience. You can't just ignore your audience and say, oh, no, we're not going to give you what you want. Screw you. And, I mean, that was a big reason. And we had I feel, the Daniel Bryan popularity. They were like, no, screw you. We're not going to let you have Daniel Bryan. We don't want him as your champ. We don't want him to main event WrestleMania 30. So totally ignoring the whole Daniel Bryan thing. I don't know if that was by design or not, kind of did his popularity. So, I mean, in this instance, you can't just ignore your fan base, but you have to not always bend to their will, because they don't always are going to be fickle. So, with that, the way I felt they should have handled this is that Daniel Bryan should have came out and said, Carmella, you did win the Money in the Bank briefcase, Ace, and due to the circumstances, I don't like it, but you are Miss Money in the Bank. I can't take it away from you, but what I can do is make you defend it. And basically said, since one historic match was ruined, I'm going to make you defend it in another historic match. Because Carmella, at Battleground, you are going to defend the money. You're going to put the Money in the Bank briefcase on the line in the first ever women's gauntlet match. And as you can see on Twitter, or I kind of tweeted when they made the announcement that Raw was getting the first ever women's gauntlet match, I was like, why couldn't this have been done for the SmackDown Live? Because of the controversy, you could have not retconned Carmella having the Money in the Bank briefcase, and if you wanted to take it off of her, you could do it in a gauntlet match, and people wouldn't necessarily be upset, or you could do that match and it wouldn't be retconned. So I felt that would have been a better way of handling this whole Money in the Bank, women's Money in the Bank fiasco, than just saying, oh, next Tuesday we're going to have another women's Money in the Bank ladder match for it, which I was proud of them because they kept it on Carmella. I felt that was the best choice for Carmella to keep the Money in the Bank briefcase, just for the simple fact of with the Money in the Bank briefcase, as you know, the rules are they can cash it in the next year. So with that, and if Carmella's not ready to be champion, and you have Naomi as the champion right now, so you have that face champion, having a heel was the best choice of winning it. Now, I do like Natalya, but she's not really put on a lot of great matches. I wouldn't have been upset with that. But like Carmella, just the heat she generated, it was perfect. Plus, you can let her have time. If she's not ready right now, say in 6 months she's ready, you can pull the trigger then on her, cashing in Money in the Bank, and become champion then if you still have Naomi or a face as a champion. So it was a good idea. I just felt that they should have, instead of having another women's Money in the Bank ladder match, which kind of, it undid how special it is, because you're doing something so quickly right after the original that it kind of makes it less special and it diminishes it. And I felt they should have done the women's gauntlet match. Now, I understand why on Raw they did that, because of what they were doing in the story. You had the matches in the ring, then you had Alexa, Emma, you had Bayley, Sasha, everyone kind of interrupt. So I understand why Raw did it. I just felt it would have been better placed on the women. So I just wanted to talk about the controversial women's Money in the Bank. So what do you guys think? Are you guys on the fence of of what they did, having the finish with Ellsworth was wrong at the Women's Money in the Bank, or just what are your thoughts? I mean, feel free to tweet me at Robert Ray Jr. You can follow me on social media. Now on the YouTube where you're going to be watching this on, you can actually go back and listen to my past podcast, the Power Pro Wrestling Podcast, and also my prediction shows are all up there. Or you can find me on Instagram, just all the social media. But I mean, just let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Feel free to subscribe to my channel if you're not subscribed so you can get more of this, because like I said, I do want to do a video show. So subscribe to my channel on YouTube and just leave a comment below what you think. Did they handle this right? What would they have done better? Just what's your thoughts and your ideals? I had a conversation with my boy Big Josh Hinkle. You can follow him too as well. But like I said, leave your comments below and I will catch you guys later.